Hey everybody, Coach Brew here. I am trying to do a live Q&A and book signing on my Ted Lasso book, but I am streaming in one, two, three different places: YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. I don't know why you can't stream Instagram and Facebook Live at the same time, but anyway, I am taking questions while I signed 300 copies of this book for the Brick Township, New Jersey Rotary Club. And I thought I would just take some questions. If you want to join in, chime in the comments. I will try and make sure to get to your comments as I see them. I see Cliff Fazzolari is on Instagram. He's got a great new book called Are You an Idiot? And the answer in his case is yes. If you haven't picked up a copy of his book, you should do that, which I believe is exclusively available on Amazon. Don't worry, I'm just drinking water. Anyway, my book, The Lasso Way, Leadership Lessons from the World's Favorite Football Coach. And unfortunately, when I say football, I mean soccer, but he was also an American football coach. Anyway, that's available. Signed copies available exclusively at coachbrew.com, and make a fabulous holiday gift, I might add. So I just want to put that out there while we're signing copies for the Brick Township Rotary Club. And I put it out on social media the other day, questions about the book. And a few of you chimed in with some questions. I get email questions from time to time about the book, and I just thought that I've got a printout here of those questions, so I just thought I would address that as well to get things started. Why a book about Ted Lasso, Brew, was the first question. And, well, to give credit where credit is due, I don't even know if he's watching it or on social media, Chris Fitzpatrick is a friend of mine. We coached together youth basketball, an undefeated season, I might add. Anyway, he recommended the show to me, and like 100 people recommended the show to me, but like I'm not a soccer guy, so I didn't really give credence to most of the people recommending it to me. But he said to me, he's like, Brew, I know you're not a soccer guy. This is a show is really not even about soccer. I think you would really like it. You should check it out. He said, against my better judgment, and I had a ton of people recommend it to me, and I didn't want to watch it. I started watching and I got hooked early. So he had the exact same experience right before I did. I trust him, and I started watching it, and I had, like I said, the exact same experience. It was nothing shy of amazing, just the teachable moments, life lessons, the authenticity, and just kind of the challenges that the guy went through in his coaching journey, I think resonated with a lot of people in any workplace. So, it certainly resonated with me as I would say, recovering coach. And it was like I'm viewing my career through his lens when I was watching it and thinking, like, if I had to do over, not that I would want to go do that job over again ever as a college coach, what would I do differently based on watching Ted Lasso and his approach to, this team, a foreign land, a foreign sport even. And it was just incredible food for thought. So one of the things I wanted to make sure I did, because I was so touched by the series, was in the book, on the very first page of the book, I put a warning. And this is I'll explain exactly why there is a warning in the book. This book intentionally does not contain any specific examples from episodes of Ted Lasso. I don't want to spoil the show for you, and if you haven't watched the entire series yet, I really don't. Rather, as a resource you can refer back to as you watch the series. It should serve as a prompt for you to reflect on scenes from the show to reinforce the leadership lessons in the book. It's that simple. I don't want to be like the person that spoils the show for you. I thought the show was that impactful and powerful. There's 10 chapters in this book, and it just sort of serves as a companion guide to the show. Doesn't spoil anything. Apparently, that was troubling for some guy named Brett, who left me a 1-star review on Goodreads.com and said the book did not live up to the promise of its potential, or some blah, 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 something to that effect. Anyway, earlier this year, in honor of Brett W., I ran a sale, promo code Brett, for the book, and made a lot of money off of one of my haters, which was fabulous. So with that in mind, and holiday season coming around, and I just thought we should run that back again, but instead of a promo code in Brett's name for the book, I actually published his 1-star review with his name on the back of a t-shirt. On the front of the t-shirt, it's got the little "Believe" from the book cover. It's a blue t-shirt, and on the back, 1 star and a small snippet of his review. I couldn't possibly put the whole review on the back of a t-shirt because, it's like a 4-paragraph diatribe, and that guy thinks he's like the arbiter of what's good and not good to read on Goodreads.com. So I just thought it was hilarious. We've got a bunch of people chiming in here on Instagram. Ann Zaprazny, hey, long time no speak. How are you? Glad you're here. And we've got Spencer Morona. What's up, buddy? The Hey Coach podcast. Shout out to the Hey Coach podcast. If you don't watch, listen to, subscribe to Hey Coach, you've got to do that. Eric Reyes is a great interviewer. He's a leadership expert, and he's kind of like a coach's coach. He said, great book, and I wasn't paid much to say that. That's perfect. And by much, he wasn't paid anything to say that. But anyway, hello, Simply Enterprises, Cape Planner, Meredith Bittner, Ann, Spencer, Eric, and Cliff. I'm amazed that my arch nemesis, Cliff Fazzolari, has not chimed in and had anything to say yet. He's got to be just biting his tongue or, waiting and picking his spots. So, again, we are live streaming on Instagram, YouTube, or BrewTube, as I like to call it, and Facebook. If you're not subscribed to all 3 of those channels with me, why not? You should be. So, yeah, don't leave the video to go do that. Just make a mental note to come back and do that. So, second person emailed me a question. What did you learn from the show? Well, I kind of touched on it a little bit as I answered my first question. It was like, what I would do differently if I had a mulligan, a professional or a career mulligan in life, and I could go back and coach again. I think the big thing I would do differently is this is what the University of North Carolina football coach, Mac Brown, likes to say. Make sure you sail the right ships. He's like, championships can't be accomplished without relationships. And Ted Lasso is a great example of just, someone who absolutely values relationships and authenticity over everything. And admitted he didn't have all the answers. The biggest thing I learned from the show and from Ted really was, it's more of a reminder. It's not like I didn't know this, but a great reminder is everyone you meet's got a lesson to teach you. He didn't know much about soccer, and what they call I guess they call it the kit manager. I don't even know what a kit manager is. I guess your kit is like your uniform. He apparently knew a lot about soccer, so Ted and his assistant, Coach Beard, would ask him questions, like ask him what he thought as he was like filling up the water and cleaning the uniforms. And getting everybody's equipment ready for practice. And then they end up making him a coach because of his knowledge and his expertise. And I do think that you're going to find education, professional development, life lessons in a lot of different places if you're willing to look for them. And that was an unlikely place where he found it. Again, great reminder. I think the other thing I learned from the show was simply the importance of perspective. Not taking yourself too seriously. Take your work seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. And that was just a great theme that was woven into a lot of the different interactions Ted had with the players, the staff, the community, the fans, even when they heckled him and the haters came out. And, my buddy, Dr. Rob Bell, shout out Rob Bell, likes to say that failure is a bruise, not a tattoo. And that was certainly that concept is something that Ted Lasso really embodied. The actor Jason Sudeikis just did a masterful job of, being able to rebound from failures. And, it's a setback. It's not final. So that was, for me, huge learning takeaway from the show. And again, I can't recommend it highly enough. It's almost as fabulous as the book. Just kidding. It's probably better than the book. It's definitely better than the book if you're Brett W. On Goodreads. Anyway, what do people need to know before they buy or read the book? Well, you need to know there are no spoilers in the book. I have this warning on the very first page. Apparently, my buddy Brett W. didn't read the warning, or he would have known that there weren't specifics from specific episodes in the chapters of the book, because you know what that would have done for someone that hadn't watched the series yet or watched part of it and didn't see the whole thing. It was kind of reading ahead of where they were on the series on Apple TV. It would have freaking ruined it for them. It would have ruined it for them. So, yeah, that's something people need to know before they buy or read the book. There are no spoilers. You can read it before you watch the series. You can read it as you watch the series and use it as kind of a companion. It is a great book to purchase to do like book club with your team. And when I say team, I don't necessarily mean a sports team. It could be your leadership team at your organization. This Rotary Club in Brick Township, New Jersey, is using it as a resource for their organization. And I just think that that's a great way to consume a book because you have a sounding board of people, like-minded people who are also leadership maybe experts or young leaders who want to learn. And you've got that sounding board for ideas. Also, selfishly, I would much rather sell a couple hundred books at a time than one or two. I got 2 kids to put through college. Come on now. Everyone should buy an entire case of this book. You think I'm kidding. It wasn't a joke. Next question, as I digress. Favorite character in the book. It would be easy for me to say my favorite character was Ted Lasso. And really, it probably was because he's humble. He's funny. I really related to that character just as, a recovering coach, former head coach myself. And that would be easy. But, I really liked the female character who was like the team publicist and social media expert. Her name was Keely. You got to see her kind of reinvent her career several times in the sequence of the seasons. And particularly today in professional life, when you look at the younger generation, they're changing careers. They're going to have like 7 different careers in their adult lifetime. And it's no longer go to work after you get out of school with one company, stay there, get promoted, and then retire and get a gold watch. People are changing jobs, they're changing organizations, they're also changing careers, fast and furious. And in order to be able to successfully do that, unless like you're in real estate and you're just jumping from one company to another, if you're changing professions, you've got to be able to reinvent yourself. And she really took that to heart and kind of, started looking at herself as a professional brand, which I think we all should look at ourselves that way. Everyone's a brand of some sort, whether you know it or not. So yeah, that was probably absolutely my favorite character, Keeley, outside of Ted himself. Least favorite character was the other. It was kind of like part two of the question. And my least favorite character would be easy to say that it was the owner's ex-husband, who was just kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of like a philandering sort of piece of crap and very transactional person. But my least favorite character is actually a guy named Higgins, and he was sort of like, I guess, the business manager for the soccer club. And it was just sort of like neither here nor there. He was a minor character in the series, but it was just sort of a chameleon who was clinging on and just acted out of self-preservation, in my opinion. And personally, I can't fucking stand people like that. Like if I don't know who you are at your core and what you stand for, we're not going to get along. And that's why that guy just rubbed me the wrong way, like from the jump. We just got a question from Eric Reyes of the Hey Coach podcast fame. He says, was there an, oh my God, that happened to me, and I wish I did that when I coached moment? Yeah, easily. This is an easy question and a great question to answer, Eric. It was the way Ted just sort of masterfully handled the media and used humor as levity, but also in some respects, kind of he used humor to redirect questions and deflect things that either he wasn't prepared to answer to the media, or just to kind of like let them know, like, you're making way too much out of this, like mountain out of a molehill kind of thing. And just sort of like, I wish I had that kind of relationship with the media when I was coaching, as opposed to just giving them coach speak kind of answers, like the typical sound bites you hear coaches share in the media or when they're at the podium and questions are asked of them. That was just like I think it was just absolute wizardry on his part. So great question. Love that. And yeah, that would be part of what I would do if I had that sort of professional mulligan in my career. So yeah, love that. To what do I attribute the commercial appeal of Ted Lasso? And so I can answer that two ways, because I don't know if the reader or, whichever one of my fabulous fans or friends or colleagues sent that in. Are you talking about the TV series or are you talking about the book? I'll answer for both. What do I attribute the commercial appeal of the show to? Well, early on, this aired during COVID, during the pandemic and the lockdowns, especially during the actual lockdown where we were pretty much all sheltered in place and everyone, consumed almost the entire internet, YouTube, and Netflix. This is on Apple TV. So apparently we consumed all of that too. But, Tiger King was kind of a dark, freaking crazy show that was on. And you saw that, and it was just so dysfunctional and the doom and gloom of everything in the news. And Ted Lasso was a great escape from the doom and gloom, the uncertainty and the fear of life. And I think people are looking for that escape, not just when there's a global pandemic, but people are looking for that escape on the daily, so to speak. It could be music, going to a concert. It could just be turning on your favorite artist on Spotify and cranking up the speakers. It could be just tuning into your favorite show, like what do you call appointment viewing, right? But we all look for those escapes. And just, I thought it was very, I don't know if it was strategic, but certainly was very fortuitous timing by the folks that produced Ted Lasso. And I just, I think we need more of that. This is me kind of climbing up on my soapbox and just sort of stating a position here. There's so much negative news. There's so much just negativity in the world and in the media. We accidentally overdose on that every day when we scroll through our social media feed with anything. And I think we need to be more intentional about putting positivity into our lives and, inspiring things, seeing people overcome challenges personally and professionally, which is really what Ted Lasso was all about at its core, overcoming personal and professional challenges. And none of us are immune to either of those two things. There are plenty of people that, and I think this is one of the, another question was what makes Ted Lasso great? Because, that series ended a couple of years ago, and the book just came out not too long ago, a little over a year ago. But what makes Ted Lasso great? Well, I think it's just the relatability factor. And what I mean by that is, like, every single one of us has personal and professional challenges that we wake up and have to deal with every single day. And, it may not be stakes as high as being a professional coach. And if you don't win, you're fired. Or being a college coach, you don't win, you're fired. Or, being, I don't know, let's say like a thoracic surgeon. And literally there's people's lives in danger if you're off of your game even just a little bit professionally that day. Most of us, the stakes aren't really quite that high. I think we can all agree to that, but it's stressful to us. So I think that the boys from Iron Oak Apparel just joined on Instagram. What's up, guys? I should send you guys copies of the book. Anyway, if you haven't checked out Iron Oak Apparel, check them out, folks. It's Pearl Snap Performance Polo shirts. They're out of this world. So, I think that the relatability factor of Ted Lasso is what makes it so great. And, it's the power of storytelling. And when I say storytelling, I don't mean like nursery rhymes or like little kid stories or like stories as you might think of them. I think, when we hear or see on screen somebody else's story and it's even just remotely relatable, we see ourselves in that story. And just seeing Ted Lasso navigate the challenges that he did, I found it very helpful. I found it actually quite therapeutic, not to get too deep into the psychobabble stuff, but just incredibly relatable. And I'd look at his challenges and, through that lens, I would see some of my professional challenges and what did he do that I could use to help navigate my shit better, because we're all, kind of dealing with the same crap. Excuse my French. I know this is a kid's show. Again, thank you for tuning in, whether you're on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, or YouTube Live. If you don't follow me on those channels, please do. If you haven't gotten a copy of the book, The Lasso Way, leadership lessons from the world's favorite football coach, please do so. Right now I'm signing 300 copies for the Brick Township Rotary Club in New Jersey. And it's a great book to use with the book club. It's a great book to be a companion piece to the show itself. And if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, it's on Apple TV. I can't recommend it highly enough. I loved it so much. I wrote a book about it, and the book will not spoil the show for you. There are no spoilers. If you're just joining the chat or the video, literally on the first page of this book, there is a warning label, and it says, I intentionally don't have any spoiler alerts or spoilers. There are no specific examples from any episodes, or it doesn't talk about the end of the series and ruin things for you. And it's by design. If you could only watch the show or read the book, honestly, I would tell you just watch the show. And I put that lack of spoilers component to this as a priority when I wrote it, because I don't want anything to take away from how powerful the learning takeaways and the lessons are within the show itself. I wanted this to be a supplement to it, not something that would ruin it for you. And there are some people who have given me a lousy review, whether it's on Amazon or Goodreads, like Brett W. Gave me a 1-star review because I didn't go in depth into specifics and talk about specific scenes and episodes and conclusions and how things resolved itself in a particular situation. And that bothered him. Apparently, he didn't actually read the book, or he would have seen the warning that says I don't go into specifics when he opened the book. So I just found that to be kind of ironic and interesting. But yeah, that's how powerful I think the learning takeaways are from Ted Lasso. And you're going to see yourself in his professional journey, and just trying to balance family and work responsibilities was a huge recurring theme in the show, and how he handles that. And that's something I fully admit I did very poorly when I was coaching. I put coaching and my team ahead of my family, ahead of myself, ahead of my health, and I had no work-life balance. And am I ashamed of that now? Yeah. My priorities were totally out of whack. They were totally screwed up. And if I had a mulligan, if I could go back and do that all over again, I would have far better work-life balance. I would have taken better care of myself. I think that's also a challenge that Ted Lasso had, and started navigating that a little better as the series went on. And then ultimately, there's kind of a happy conclusion in his journey to find work-life balance, which is great. Val Rennie just joined. Hey, Val, how are you? Great to see you on here on Instagram. So yeah, that is, I think, part of what makes Ted Lasso great is how there's a little bit of Ted in all of us. We all see ourselves in that. And I think that's just great cinematography, or great theater, whatever you want to call it. When you can see yourself, or, part of yourself in a character, it's made that character really authentic and highly relatable, personally and professionally. And I think Ted Lasso does a masterful job of that. There are some other shows where you kind of latch on to things and see yourself in some of the characters, whether it might have been like MASH, Cheers, Friends, Seinfeld, whatever. There's a little bit of some of those characters in people we know, our relatives, family, friends, whoever, and sometimes ourselves. And I just think that's it's a powerful tool through good storytelling. And good storytelling at its heart is good writing in each of these situations. A movie, as much as it's on the screen, is only as good as the writing that takes place behind the scenes, well before the cameras roll. So I have a real appreciation for the writers of Ted Lasso. Now, one of whom, if you've seen the show or you know who I'm talking about, or you've even just seen memes of him with Oscar the Grouch, and him just saying "fuck," and that's spelled F-A-C-K, F-A-C-K, with his British accent, is the character Roy Kent. I forget the actor's name, but long story short, and this is not a spoiler, but it's just kind of a cool fun fact about Ted Lasso, the show. Roy Kent was a writer, or the guy who played Roy Kent was a writer for the show. And as they were writing out, the screenplay for the series, they're trying to figure out who to cast in each role. Jason Sudeikis was the executive producer. He was going to be Ted Lasso. He actually played Ted Lasso as a character for a World Cup. I think it was ABC televised the Soccer World Cup. And he cut a promo for ABC as this American, quote, soccer coach, Ted Lasso. So he was always going to be Ted in the show. But they were trying to figure out who would play the star player, Roy Kent, who's kind of a grumpy sort of malcontent, who was older, kind of been there, done that, and then ultimately ended up having like a professional rebirth. And whoever the writer was that was writing with Sudeikis and some of the other guys kind of came to this epiphany as he's writing, and they're trying to audition different people to play the role of Roy Kent. He's like, I could be Roy Kent way better than any of these people. And he emailed Sudeikis and the other producers and writers in the middle of the night one night, and he said, I'm going to essentially read the script as Roy Kent for the first 5 episodes, record it, and send it to you. If you like it and you think that I should be Roy Kent, great. If you don't and you hate it and you thought it sucked, forget that I ever sent this to you. Recorded it, sent it to him, and the rest is history. He was the perfect character to play Roy Kent, the perfect actor to play Roy Kent. And he's almost now become synonymous with Roy Kent. And he's a pretty funny guy, even though Roy's a pretty serious guy. This actor, God, I wish I could remember his name. He's a stand-up comic now. He's going on tour doing stand-up comedy. And you can probably find clips on YouTube. He's absolutely hilarious. So, that is a little bit of the inside baseball behind how certain people were cast in the show Ted Lasso. And the other thing that if you are currently watching the show, or maybe you're going to go back and rewatch it while you order and read a copy of The Lasso Way, which is available exclusively at coachbrew.com. If you go back and do that and you're watching it again, there are like all these little Easter eggs and homages to different things in pop culture that take place in the show that you don't know to look for unless someone tells you. But in just about every episode, there are these cool kind of little Easter eggs, or just, that's figure speech. They aren't actual Easter eggs. Okay. I was speaking figuratively, not literally. So don't say, I didn't see any Easter eggs. It's figure of speech. Look it up. Go to urbandictionary.com or wherever you find your terminology. Cool little hidden things. Like there is a great, and this is not spoiling anything for you, there's a great scene in one of the episodes where Ted Lasso quotes the NBA basketball star Allen Iverson. Allen is sort of famous for one soundbite in his career during a press conference. Ted Lasso sort of riffs on a variation of that as he's dealing with one of his players who's being particularly lazy in practice, much like Allen Iverson. So anyway, that's an example of some of those little Easter eggs or fun little nuggets that you find hidden in the episodes. Unless you knew, you didn't know. So as I wind this down, if you have any questions, just throw them in the comments. I appreciate you watching, tuning into this, whether it's live or you're going to go watch the playback to it. And if I'm not looking directly into the camera, number one, it's because I'm signing books. Number two, it's because there are 3 different cameras rolling at the same time. I've got Facebook Live on my left, Instagram in the center, and YouTube on my right. And I am trying to give each of them their due attention. But that probably means that I'm failing one of you 66.6% of the time I'm on camera. So for that, I apologize. I hope you'll forgive me. And more importantly, I hope you'll go pick up a copy of The Lasso Way. It just recently became, by far, my best-selling book in short order. And I have many of you to thank for that. Special thanks to the Brick Township Rotary Club for picking up copies of this for all your members and your guests. I'm going to spend probably the entire weekend signing these and personalizing them to you. And I can't thank you enough. If maybe you're not a reader or maybe you already have a copy of the book, what you should do is you should go buy a t-shirt at coachbrew.com that has the 1-star review from some guy named Brett W. on goodreads.com who thought the book sucked because it was too general. When I was doing that, looking out for you, the reader, so I didn't spoil the freaking TV series for you. So anyway, in honor of Brett W. on goodreads.com, I've issued a commemorative t-shirt. And yeah, go pick up a t-shirt. Also would make a fabulous gift along with a signed copy of the book for a family member, a friend, a young leader, an experienced leader, or maybe every single person at your organization. Because Lord knows I need the money. I've got 2 kids that are in college. I've got 2 tuition bills. And yeah, please buy, I don't know, a gazillion copies, at a minimum, a couple cases of the book. I'll sign them for you. And pick up a t-shirt, coachbrew.com. I'm curious. I'm really curious now. On Instagram, we've got John Rennie and Val Rennie both watching the live stream. I'm just wondering if they're watching it together or on separate devices in separate rooms, separate buildings, different towns. I don't know. But regardless, hey, what's up, John? And if you haven't read any of John Rennie's books, you owe it to yourself to pick up a copy of his best-selling book, I Have the Watch. And I think it's available at IHaveTheWatch.com. And he is a retired nuclear submarine officer from the U.S. Navy. Happy belated Veterans Day, John. It's a fabulous book. And I wrote the foreword to it. So, yeah, the foreword I hear is just absolutely out of this world to the book I Have the Watch. So go get a copy of that. John Rennie, Brett W. irons his jeans. You're not kidding, right? Brett W. probably macrames his own jean shorts, a.k.a. jorts. Brett, what else does Brett W. do, I wonder? I bet he wears flip-flops with tube socks. How about that? He's probably one of those guys who puts whipped cream on hot dogs and eats it that way. Who does that? Apparently that's a thing. I don't know. Probably Brett W. Anyway, yes, thank you, everyone. I have 4 more books to sign before I sign off, and I have to go tackle another of these 5 cases of books. Anyway, again, it's The Lasso Way, Leadership Lessons from the World's Favorite Football Coach. And you can pick up a signed copy exclusively at coachbrew.com. Is the book available wherever books are sold? No, it's not. It's a little book, little square book, just 10 short chapters, soft cover. Gorgeous picture of me on the back of my hat. and it's available at coachbrew.com if you want a signed copy. I offer free shipping on all my books. I call it Coach Brew Prime. But however, if you, for some perverse, strange reason, are insanely loyal to Amazon, yeah, you can go on Amazon and buy the damn thing there too. It just won't come signed. And I've also been known to throw in, maybe an extra book or a different book in the package when I send you a book when you order on my website. And yeah, Jeff Bezos won't do that when you order on Amazon. So there you have it. And there it is. This has been my Q&A book signing on The Lasso Way, leadership lessons from the world's favorite football coach. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And we'll do this again, maybe over the weekend, maybe the beginning of next week. And yeah, have a great weekend. I'm going to try and sign off on all these platforms now. If I can figure out